today I had to turn on the gen so that I will use gen for the class. I don't want NEPA to do the nonsense they did constantly be doing. So yeah, I was trying to show how the effect of the tokens we've created, the design token we've created, and okay, I'm trying to make this feel like a button. So let me give our button a radius corner of 12. I want this to be auto layout. So I'm putting this in auto layout, Shift A. I have my button and I come here. I don't like the balance. My left and right paddling, I want it to be 24. You can see I'm selecting the size token I have been selecting. I want my button up and down to be 16. So I have my standard button here. But if I feel 16, that's 72. That button is too large. So I will reduce this to a 12. So my height is 64. No, let me give it an 8. My height is 56. Perfect. This is the size of button that I always like on my mobile phone. So now let me reduce this font to a size 16. That's my font. And now let me change my radius corner to 8. However, the text inside is still not compliant. So I'm going to change it to a brighter text. Now we have a perfect button. So this, let me just expand this. This is my button. I feel like the button looks like it's so small. So I'm going to increase this to this. Yeah. Let me just increase this for practical purposes anyway. In next week class, when you're creating you start your design, you would create your buttons, your style guide, your basic things. That's what next week class will be about, but before that. So yeah, so let's assume this is our mobile app design. Remember, we've connected all of this to certain, what's it called? And put this in the center. Yeah, we've connected them to all the different tokens, right? Now, I want to show you the effect of the light mode, dark mode thing. So I would be getting a frame here. Let me just call it desktop. There are two methods to show you. So for this desktop one, this first screen, I'm going to come here and give it a background color of my background 1. And here I'll give it my background color of my background 2. Now, you notice how after adding it, you see this apply variable mode. You see design token. You can see light and dark mode. I'll click on light mode for this one. This one, I will click on dark mode for this one. So I have dark mode here. You know, I'm giving each of this frame mode. So now watch. If I move this to here, my phone adapts to the light mode and everything because it is all the colors I've set in this background is in like camera target and decide to move it here. Can you notice what happened? Hello, guys.
Yes, you can notice.
Yeah, I hear you.
You notice what happened to the phone, to the design I brought in? Let me bring it back here. It's back to light mode. I bring it back here. It's in dark mode, right? That's because I've set it to adapt to light and dark mode because this background is set to light and dark mode. However, let's even assume that I am not using any of this background thing. I just want to do this on its own. So I select this frame, I come here, I give it light mode, and I can easily select this and give it dark mode. It will adapt. I can decide to change this that I don't want dark mode again. I can come here, I change it to light mode. I can come here and change this back to dark mode. However, you know, I've given it its own mode. If I now bring this dark mode, I bring it inside light. I bring it inside here. It will not adapt. Majorly, example now. Let me control D this. And in this one, I decide to detach it from any mode. Then I bring it here. Then it will adapt. So an element will adapt to a background color or background set mode if you've not attached it to any mode. But if you use the colors under the design token of such mode. So you see, that's why moving left and right, it is showing that, right, for this ones. But for this ones, because I have added the design token mode to it, so no matter where I put it, it will stay to the mode I have added it to, right? Unlike this one, I did not, you see that there's no mode attaching there because I intentionally want it to adapt to what is going on here. Basically, that's what you use your design token for. So now in any design I'm designing in this file, in as much as I want it to adapt to the modes I've created. So when I'm selecting color, I only pick color from the section that says design token. Once you create your design token, you have no business with any of this color anymore. They are just there for documentation purposes. But if as you are designing, you now discover that, oh, I need one color and it's not missing, but the color is here, right? But you can find, this is the color I need. But that color is not in your design token. It's not inside any of your design token here. Then you now go to your variable. Then you now go to the category that you need it for. If it's for background, you go there, you add it. So when you need a new color that is missing, like when I needed the one for text that was missing, I came here and I added it. If I want to add more, so that is how you do it. All the colors you have here are for documentation and to create your design token. The moment you create your design token, when you're designing, for your token to adapt, every color you are selecting should be selected from your tokens. If they are not selected from your tokens, whatever mode you've set will not apply. It will not. If I can pick color from here, now, you see that I pick color from here. Now, if I drag it here, others will be adapting except those ones. You see that those orange is not adapting because I did not pick it from the token, so it's not going to adapt. So that one will not adapt. That is the reason why the moment you create your design token, you only select colors from your design token. And if a color is missing, you go back to your design token settings in your variable and you add it, and so on and so forth. So from these, I would want you on your design file that you'll be using for your project, I would want you to create your variables, create your design tokens for your stuff. When you are done creating all of that, you also create your typography. I believe you'll have gone through the material for typography. You've seen how to create your typeface. Whatever fonts you want to use, you've seen it. Remember, you're using your 8-spacing system, so you see the sizes that's there. Once you're done creating all of that, then you now proceed to create your mini style guide. Mini style guide is like a part of a design system. But because you're working on a personal project, you're not working on a big company. So you don't have to say, oh, you're creating a design system. You're just creating a simple style guide. You create your buttons, you create your input field. I already attached material on how you create input field in that document as well. And to create button components too are easy. So let me create one button from scratch. So you get to see how you can create button components. So I'm picking a text now. Let me name it button. Right? And I think I saw an icon here. So I'll be making use of this icon, Control X. I'm making use of this icon. So I'm becoming here. But now I've written the text button. I want to convert this into an actual button. On my keyboard, the current size is 40, but that's not the size I want for my button. Also, I don't really like this font. So I'm going to choose, let's say, Man Rope. Yeah, I choose Man Rope for my button. I want my fonts to be medium. And my size, my font size, I come to size. I want my font text size to be 16. And Yes, that's the alignment I want for my button. So this is my button text. So now create my button. I do Shift A on my keyboard. That's for those using Windows. For Apple, I don't know the opposite of Shift A. If Control Z, if you don't know the command or shortcut of Shift A on Apple, you can right click and you can click on Add Auto Layout. Once you add Auto Layout, you can see your Auto Layout panel has shown up again. You can see that, okay, your button is in the center, your gap is 10:10. Now, this is where I now make setting. I don't want 10. I want my padding left and right to be, let's say, 24. And I want this to be, let's say, a 16. By that, you can see the height of my button by default is now 54, which is a perfect size for my button. Now, in this button, so I want to be able to create left and right icon. So I'll copy this icon, Control X. Some people use arrows here, but right now I don't have access to arrows. So I'll duplicate this, Control D, and then there'll be left and right. Now, let me attach color to these icons. I'm attaching you see that I'm scrolling to the token side. I want them white. I also want my text to be white. You see that I scroll all the way to the design token, and under text, I select white because that's the color I want to use. Now, our button does not have a background yet. So I'll come to fill as well. I'll go to all the way to design token. Now, I want this to be a secondary color button. So I'm selecting secondary color. So you can see the way it is. But on yellow, does white work better on yellow or black? Oh, black is better on yellow. So you can see how white was not looking good. Is the, what is it called? What's the word? The contrast was poor. But the moment I change it to this dark text, the contrast is bad because yellow is a very light color and white is a light color. So that's why you see light cannot go on light, but dark can go on light, right? Now we've put our button color, our button fill. If I want this button to have a stroke, we will, but you see where we had it. So now I want the radius corner of my button to be an 8. So I have my button perfectly. Now that I've created my button, I want this button to be in components, meaning I want to create the overstate of my button, my secondary button, my outline button, my disabled button, my rounded button if I want. So I'm going to click on this thing that is called components. I'll create it into a component. Now this has been created to a component, right? Let me rename it button. Now that has been renamed button. Now this button is a component. I now want to give it more different variants, meaning different types of the button that I mentioned. So I'll add a variant. Now that I had a variant, you can see that it has added variant to default variant 1. So property here, the property is a button, right? Then default, I don't want the name to be default, so I'll have primary button. So I'll name it primary. So this is my primary button, right? And I've named my primary button. But before I proceed, I now want to create boolean to it, right? So I want this, I'll first select this. I'll be creating a boolean to this effect so that you can toggle on, toggle off different things in your button. So this button is my text. Is the text of my button, right? So you come here. You can see this icon here that says apply property or add variable. I click on it. Because no property or boolean has been created, right? As me had created it from variables, it will be showing here, but I did not create. So I'm creating it from here. I click on add. The name of the property is show button, but I want it to be text. I'll name it text because the text can show anything. I'll add it to true, meaning on the button, the text will always show. I'll create it. Yeah, I'll create another one for this. I'll click on this icon. I want to label it. You see that the button that we created is here. I can decide to assign this to this, but that's not what I want to do. I want to create another one. So this is right. So I'll call this right icon. Right icon. True. I'll leave it on. Yes. I would come here again. I'll create this other button icon. I'll click plus. I'll do left icon. And that's true. And that's it. You know, when we did this one, we've not created those booleans. So now I'll come and assign boolean to it. I'll come here. I'll assign text to it. I'll come here. I'll assign right icon to it. I'll come here. I'll assign left icon to it. So my booleans are set for this. These are called booleans, variable booleans and all like that. So now this would be my, let's say, outline button. Outline, right? So for this to be outlined, it means I will have stroke, right? So the property will be changing for this one. So this, I will give it a stroke of yellow. Again, you are selecting from your design token. So I'm selecting yellow. I am removing the fill, and the text here will also be yellow, because this is my outline button. You can see that it's outlined. Now, next is either you can click on the first one, or when you click on this and you come here, you just click add another variant. This variant, I want to name it over button. So meaning if I'm using this button on the web, how the over effect will work. Now, when I over, I want it to show a bit of stroke. So I will scroll all the way to my secondary token. And because I want to have a stroke, I had the stroke to it. And because I want that slight difference, so that to show that, okay, I overdone it. Now, I realize that I need a little darker yellow. It's not here. And I need, so what I do is I'll have and then I will have that darker version that I am looking for, which is this one. Right? Here, and I'll change my fill to this, and I will change my text to right. Shall you understand? With this is my, so when people use this and they over, it will give them this, right? Now this is my over button. Another button that is still missing is disabled button, right? When something is disabled and I want to show it's disabled. So I'm going to make this disabled. So to show my disabled, I will label this disabled. Now this is my disabled button, and my fill, some people use the lighter version of what they are doing, but me, I like my disabled to feel like a true disabled button. So I am going to use something from the grayscale like this, and I'm going to change my text color to something like this. So there's no how, by the time you see this, you feel like, yes, this is a disabled button. Now that this has been created, I've created my button components. I will add to my style guide later. So let's come here and make use of that button now. I would be using this one here. Let me right click, place to replace. So now I have my button here. I can decide to expand it the way I want, because I want it to balance end to end. So this is my button. So you see how text, right icon, left icon that we create. If I don't want right and left icon, I can toggle them off. I'll just send the button text. But if I need one of the icon, let's say I need a right icon that will point like arrow to me, I can leave it on. But in these instances, I don't want any icon. So I have my button here. I can name this, I can change the name to get started now. Now I have get started. My button is set. If I want to show that, oh, this page, the button should be disabled, right? Then I'll come here under button. I'll click on disable button. You see how it changes. Or if it is, I want to show that it's outline button I'm using. I'll come here, I'll click on outline. Now that I'm now using outline button, I'm seeing how, okay, the color I'm using for this outline might not really work. I can now decide to now come here. I would come, I'll give the background, because I didn't give it an inner color before. I'm now deciding to give it an inner color. And that red, the yellow that I'm using, I'll probably change it to a darker yellow version. This version. I think I prefer this for my outline. Again, research purpose. You see how the changes I've made in my component is affecting here, right? That's the advantage of creating components. I can now go back and say, okay, is the overstate I want. You see the way the button of overstate looks like. But, and primary. I go back to my main primary color. So this is how button component. Now I have my button component. I can use this anywhere in my design and all like that. So that's how to create button component. You see that as you select it, you see all the properties that it has and everything like that. Anyway, that's that about this for creating buttons. And you see how using auto layout makes everything just easy peasy and all like that. So yeah, that's that about design tokens, creation and button creation. I'm looking forward to see you create your variables, your tokens, your buttons, your input field that you use in your design and stuff like that. That will be those are your assignments for this week. Your basic foundation, your typography style, everything needs to be in your file. Your file needs to have that so that by Monday you now dive into designing your screens, searching for resources. I think on Monday we'll work on how you gather inspiration and how to guide you on how you can do that, and then start picking what you want to design. I will not tell you this is what you should design. You need to be able to have that inspiration by yourself, because that part cannot be taught. That part you need to discover it yourself. I will just guide you through on how you can do it. And over time, as you grow as a designer, you develop your own method, your own techniques that it works for you. It might not necessarily be what everybody does, but if it works for you and gives you superb good job, good for you as well. And yeah, does anybody have any question? Yes, Ebenezer.
Yeah, thank you so much for the class.
You're welcome.
Just want to ask a question. The color variance we created, that was yesterday.
The color what?
The color variance we created.
The color gradient.
The color variable we're using. Hello?
Yeah, the color of the variables I created.
Yeah. Is that a standard way of operating with Figma, or you're the one that just decide to do it that way?
Okay, like all the colors I selected.
Not the color, the method. That color variant you created. Because instead of doing that, can't we just decide to be picking a color from the color palette?
So if you decide to be picking your color from the color palette, you will not be organized. As a designer, you need to have a system, and having a system is what gives you that consistency. Because as a designer, when you work in a company on a project, you are not the only one working, right? You're working with a lot of people, so that there'll be that uniformity. That's why it's good to have your style guide, your design system, your variables done, everything done, so that if you're working on a project and your employer, you're the first person that start working on it, they not employ somebody else. That person can easily join you and collaborate. Not that you people are now picking colors. Your colors need to be in proper naming convention also, so that the devs that are coming to implement your design would know how to also create the token on their end and label it correctly. So it's going to be like a reusable component, because colors are something you use across your design. You see that as you're designing, you're using the same color over and over. In a situation where you did not create them as components, or you did not put them as variable. If you finish all your design, your boss now say, this purple color you use, though, I don't want it again. Let's change it to teal green. And you design over 100 screens. Sometimes some projects go as high as 500 screens. Imagine having to change those colors one after the other. It's going to be a lot of work. But if you created them into variable or style, it's a matter of just going to that variable and switch the variable to that color. An example of what I'm saying is, let's make it a whole sample of this. If I duplicate this, let me do 1, 2, 3. I'll keep duplicating it. Now I have duplicated this. You can see the number of screens. You can see. You see how plenty these screens are. You see how large it is. Now imagine in this project with this whole number of screens, I don't want to use that yellow anymore. The yellow is not part of what I want. Instead of now coming, assuming it's not now connected, it's not connected to a variable or a comp or and stuff like that, right? Assuming it's not connected to a variable and all of those things. Imagine all these screens. See, this is over how many? Imagine having to come here. You go to the color. You now, for example, and I come here and I'll be picking. And I'll pick. And I'll pick. I'll pick again. I'll be picking. One after the other, picking. You know how exhausting that would be? Extremely exhausting. So let me Ctrl Z it back. But the easiest way to change all of these multiple screens you're not seeing, I will now come to my variable list. I'll come to this yellow because I know that this was the yellow I used. I'm not using the yellow again. I'm changing to orange. Now that orange has been changed, I close it. You will see that in every way in my design. What do you see? Orange. You see that I don't have to stress to start changing all of them one after the other. Every single thing has automatically changed to orange, which gives consistency. So no new person can just come and use random colors, and you might not really see it as a big deal now, but you see it as a big deal when you people are like 4 designers and you're working in a team, and you people are flyers, you've done everything, your project is going, and there's one designer that he has not been using the styles and the textiles that you people are creating. Then suddenly your boss now say, okay, let us change our fonts. And you people use batch styler to just change all fonts. But you just see that there were some screens that were not changing. And it's discovered that person did not use all the styles. Hence why it's not changing. It means you people will now have to start changing manually one after the other. It is extremely exhausting. So it is by standard. It's just like when you're building a house. Before you can start, you cannot go to a land and just start arranging blocks. It's impossible. You have to dig your foundation, prepare your foundation. Your foundation needs to be solid so that anything you put on top of your foundation will stand grand. That's the same thing with these variables, textiles, color styles, design tokens. They are your, and then your design system, your style guide. All of these things are your basic foundation of designing. They're part of your basics. Right? You learning color theory and all is to learn how to apply those color here and use the color in your designs, right? But to use those color effectively and efficiently, you need to build a system, a style guide. I will share a sample of design system, and you see everything that is in that design system that has been added, that was curated, so that you get to understand and see sample of design system. Some company takes them up to a whole year before they finish building their design system, because design systems are usually large. And sometimes some design systems are being sold online. Let me look for Align UI is a paid design system, but I think because I dash last quotes, let me give you guys to Align UI. It's one of the really good design system out there. And yeah, let me go and check Align UI. So basically, these are the reasons it is compulsory for you to create a proper system. If I enter a file and a designer does not have his color style or any of his work properly done and all, I will automatically count that designer as an unserious designer, a lazy designer, because there's no how you being organized, you being properly efficient is part of what gives you that discipline as a designer. So yes, it is compulsory for you as a designer to have what's it called? To have all your stuff set. So I would be adding icon pack to, so under your week 1, your week 2 resources, under understanding Figma and 2, I'll be posting, you see icon pack there, a Figma file that is an icon, Vusax icon pack. What's the second one again? That's Vusax icon pack. Let me see. I know I shared. I'm trying to look for. Let me check which one. Sorry, give me a minute. Okay, I found it. Align UI. Align UI is a design system. It's one of the best design system I like using. And I only use this design system when I'm working on a project that I do not have time to start creating my own style guide, start creating my own color selection, start creating my own design token. I'm in a rush. All those type of clients that they want work in 1 week. I'll just connect Align UI to that file and use all the design token, the button style, the input box, and all. You see sample of that. So on your, let me share my screen to that part, because I don't think I can see what I'm using. Present something else. Windows. Yeah. Share. So yes, on your week 2 class, under classes, under here, you see Vusax, there's this icon pack, and there's this design system. By the time you open it, you see all the different things. It's not fully complete. As I when this one was paid for, they've not updated more, but you will get to understand the basics of what I'm talking about. And this is the one for creating typography style. This is also the one for creating input box into different components and stuff like that. So yeah. Let me stop presenting. So yeah, any other question, Ebenezer?
Yeah, thank you. I want to ask, after this program, are we still going to have access to the documentation, that document?
Oh yes, it is under my account. It will always be open. After the program, you can duplicate it. I'll activate the make a copy part, so you can duplicate it on your own end. It's not that when you duplicate, if somehow I update it with more resources, you won't get access to the updated resources. But the link will always be available as long as you have it with you. Is what is it called? Is accessible to people. People from last code. This is last code resources one. They still have access to everything that is here. They still have access to their class recordings and all like that. So is that my method this time around is more hands-on and more practical because the population is lesser, and I'm doing it during the day, so I'm sort of more brighter. In the night, there's slight exhaustion at night. So I think because of that, this time around, I'm able to talk about a lot more than I did last code. So I don't think I taught them this in last code, variables and design token last code. I didn't. Yeah. I didn't have that to the curriculum because I even felt that a lot of them would not know it. Majority had never even used Figma in last code. So yeah. Yes, you would have access to it. But these resources that I've given you, some of those files, duplicate it, like the icon pack, make it duplicated on your end. Yeah, Jacob, you raise your hand.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, please I want to ask, like, is there any links or videos that we can also use as guide to enlarge
Yes.
like capacity, knowledge capacity?
Okay, from last year's last those classes, or what did you say?
No, not last course class, so like maybe like additional video resources you can recommend that also help us.
Yeah, I had it. It's like you people don't need to go through the materials that are attached. We don't need to go through it. A lot of these links in this document are YouTube videos, YouTube links, Medium links. I was so intentional about the resources I shared, and in those slides, at the ending of some of those slides, there are still links to additional resources again. Your week one, I dropped so many links. Except people don't need to check it. That's where the problem is, because all this video you're asking, it is there. See this Figma.
Sorry, that's why I'm actually asking for the link after the program.
What is Figma?
Sometimes the time may not be enough to go through all those links within the few weeks.
Yeah, all the links are there. You see the videos, you see them, and because you have certain knowledge now, even on your own, as if you watch this one, you're hungry for more. By the time you go into YouTube, maybe there's one thing that you saw in that video you want to learn now again. Like now, I've taught you variables and design token. If you want to still go further, if you go to YouTube and search Figma variables or Figma design token, you'll still see more videos, right? On my own, I've done that. I even put one course from this guy, Designing with Figma. It's like a 4-hour lengthy course. I added that too as well. So the resource is there. It's just left for you to go through them.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. At the end of the course, there's this Notion file I have for practical stuff you can work on later on. Like you see small tasks. Day 1, create this. You go on Figma, you practice, you create. Day 2, create this. But I will not release that until we've done, these current tasks that we're working on. So that way, after the program, you are not wondering, oh, what can I design? If you go to that Notion file, you will see different concepts of what you can work on, what you can practice. Some days it's just for you to practice on cards and all like that. So I would add that to the resource list, but that will be the last resource I will add to your document.
All right, that's fine. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Ellen, any question? Yeah, good as well. Okay, I believe that is all then for today. Enjoy your weekend. Tomorrow evening, I will drop the Google link for submission so that you guys can submit your Figma file. When you're submitting your Figma file, ensure before you copy, make it that anyone can view so that I'll be able to see what you've done, what you've created in your file, and all like that. Anyway, do enjoy your weekend and have a nice day.